I've found that when you have it generate the kind of the rationale that leads to what it's ultimately producing, it does it better because you give it that thinking space.
We're doing the chain of thought, but via structured output fields.
Exactly. That is it. That is all it takes now to prep an episode. Once we have the title and the description, we can kind of just roll with it. Run this, and we got the thumbnail. It's created in Riverside. The Luma event is created. In the RSS feed will pick it up. And that's it. That's how an episode gets created.
Make a prompt that is everything you have to do. You can always leave in, like, stop and get the human to do this part, and then you can slowly fill it out with more and more automations as you go. This is AI That Works. This is the show where we teach you real AI techniques that work in production for real hard problems. I'm Dex. I'm the founder of a company called Human Layer. We help you use coding agents better. Kevin, do you want to do a quick little intro, and then I can kind of talk about what we're making today?
Sure. So, Kevin Gregory, I work for Evolution IQ, where we build software that it's insurance tech software for disability companies that helps the examiners take the right action on the right claim at the right time.
That makes sense. And over the summer, me and Vaibhav spent 2 days building a bunch of automations to automate the show. Because when we do the show, there's a ton of stuff of like taking the transcript and turning it into a summary and then making a good email that doesn't sound AI slop, and then like getting the whiteboards and uploading the video and generating thumbnails and posting the next episode and all this stuff. And we built some lightweight automation, and then our process changed and it was a little bit brittle. And so we stopped maintaining it. And then Kevin started helping us out. And Kevin actually automated all this stuff properly. And so today we're going to talk about a bunch of different types of AI and applications of AI for and how to glue all this stuff together to make this show run smoothly. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Amazing.
I think there's a lot more process pieces that go into it than I think most people realize. So I think the first thing is someone has an idea for an episode, right?
Okay. Right. Vaibhav says I want to teach people about semantic streaming or latency or whatever it is.
Right. So typically that idea is just a topic. It's nothing really more than a topic, right? Like Dex said,
one sentence.
I want understanding latency, right?
Yep.
That's it. And so then what we need to do is we need to come up with, after that, we need to kind of flesh that out a little bit more. And I have not used Excalibur in a minute, so bear with me as I kind of figure out all these hotkeys.
You a TL draw guy now or something?
I just don't do a lot of drawing and architecting on in my day-to-day.
Well, the next automation, I don't know if you saw, but they have Claude can hook up to an Excalibur MCP now, so we can. We should do an experiment where we hook up the audio stream to Claude code and then just kind of like dump little like snippets to it and say like draw what we're talking about.
That would be cool.
Sorry. Anyways.
So the next step is to flesh out the episode, because we have a lot of episode ideas, and I think part of it is like, okay, so we have this idea, let's put it in the backlog on the back burner, and then at some point we get to say, okay, so for next week, what episode do we want to do? We pull out the topic from our topic bank and we say, okay, what do we want to talk about in this episode? So at that point,
this is basically like 2 to 3 sentences, right? Because this is the summary you need for the event. Yeah.
Right. So description, and then maybe a full episode title.
So do you want to show an example on like one of like what goes into one of those? I guess it's like what's on one of the Luma events, right?
Yeah, I can open Luma. So we can see, so this one, right? So say we had a topic of, hey, Kevin, I want you to do some automating. Let's have an episode where we go over it, right? That is that first box. So that is this box. Let me just move you all to my other screen. That is this box here. Kevin, let's have an episode at some point where we talk about every way that you've automated the AI That Works podcast. Okay, cool. And then once we get to the point where it's like, okay, we're doing this episode on this date, let's actually come up with the title, which is going to be AI Content Pipeline Revisited, and then the actual description, which is this part here, right? So what are we going to send out to people to get them interested and get them to join?
That makes sense. Okay. I'm excited to get to the AI part of this.
Yeah.
So far, this is just you hammering me and Vibe to fill out fill out the cards in Notion.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of which, you're gonna be hearing from me later today.
Amazing. I'm ready. Do your worst.
And so one more thing that is required is kind of a human input into this whole process is Luma calls it a slug, but it's the short Luma URL. So this is, typically I come up with this. I don't really hammer Dex or Vibe for this too much. Luma slug / URL, because this is pretty easy to come up with, but it is one piece that is kind of one more human input to this whole process. And what that is that something where is it? When we have luma.com / whatever, like this one, I think is luma.com / AI pipeline or AI content generation, right? This right here, luma.com / AI content generation. And all the episodes have a quick, short, they call it a slug.
Would call it a slug? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. I use that word all the time. I use the word slug all the time. And some people are like, not everybody knows what that means. And I'm like, well, they can learn.
Yeah. Google exists.
Yeah.
It is a weird word though. Like it's a weird thing to call that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the default is just some, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Okay, so we're generating a slug.
Yeah.
We take the description, we take the title, we make a slug, and then what comes next?
And then I have a Claude code command that kind of kicks off the whole. I call it the episode. The episode prep. So the first thing that I do is I have to generate an image for the episode, and so you can see if I go back here, this image here. Don't know how to easily get to it. Let me just go back one more time. Let's go to Luma. So this image is AI generated.
Okay.
And so that's the first thing that the pipeline does is it takes the description and it takes the title and it runs through a couple of things and uses Nano Banana Pro to generate this image. And the way it does that is it has a base image, and really all it's doing is it's coming up with the subtitle and this kind of graphic here in the middle. It's really all it's doing, and then it's kind of generating the actual image itself.
And for the record, we used to just have a giant Figma board that would that just had all of these. Every episode, we would manually paste in an image to figure out what the next episode title would look like.
Yeah, well, it's being annoying, but yeah, we had a long string.
Just like we had a long. Okay. And do you want to show us kind of how that? I mean, do you want to go high level and then dig into the code, or do you want to jump show us the code for this part and then zoom back out again? How do you want to go through this?
I'm fine doing it either way. Honestly, I think.
Okay.
I
would like to kind of see the. Let's jump from the whiteboard. Are you able to pull up the Claude command and we can kind of figure out if we hit something that needs whiteboarding, we can pop back to the whiteboard.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So is this zoomed in enough? First of all.
I think you probably make it a little bit bigger. It's enough, but I would, there we go.
All right, cool. So actually over here, you can see there are just a handful of Claude commands. This socials one existed before me. I didn't do this one.
Yeah, I wrote that one. It's not very good. The tweets it writes are very bad.
They're very bad.
You should rename it to cringetweets.md.
Dex's cringe.md.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so the way it works is we do episode prep, and then I even think email prep at this point is deprecated. But we do episode prep, and then once the episode airs, we do find clips, because that gets us, we've started generating shorts that go on YouTube, and find clips suggests shorts to our editors. And then once the episode is done and the YouTube video has been uploaded, we run the complete episode Claude code command, and that kind of finishes everything. And I'll go over kind of all this. And I think what's really interesting to take away from this is I think it's very easy to have an all or nothing mindset when it comes to automating, right? I want it to be push button. I want it to run one command and then everything to happen.
And everything is, you have this kind of fired up almost like interactively, right? It's like run the
Exactly.
command. I don't have to know which args to pass into it. Claude will ask me what things need to go into it to make the next thing happen.
Exactly. But I think something else to keep in mind is even if you automate 95 or 90% of something, that's still a huge win, right? So we're at the point now where the emails that it generates are good, typically only need one round of comments, but we still have to review them, right? You'll see
Yep.
in here, I don't have it create the Riverside event, create the description, and post to Vibob's LinkedIn, right? I am a human in the loop there to make sure that everything is buttoned up and correct before it posts to Vibob LinkedIn. And same with
There's
the
almost
emails.
this like, I think about this a lot. People talk about like sandboxes, and it's come up a lot with the OpenClaw conversation of like,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of want to like define what are the boundaries outside of your agentic sphere that you want human approval, like what requires approval to go out of the
Right.
box. And it's like posting publicly on LinkedIn, is sending an
Yep.
email to thousands of subscribers, these sorts of things you want to like guarantee. And so you've engineered this process so that the things that you can change later are kind of just get happen automatically, and the things that like are, let's say, one way are done manually.
Exactly. That's a great way to put
Okay,
it. And so I
cool.
think automating doesn't have to be an all or nothing.
So sick.
So
Yes, this was the entire thesis behind Human Layer. Was like, okay, automate the things, but also like maintain control and guardrails around the parts that are high impact, but are also high value, right? If it can write the
mhm.
post for you and get it right 90% of the time, and you're only making changes once in every 10 times, that's great. But you still want to have the like, it's worth reviewing it every time
Right.
rather than trying to automate it to 99.9% like quality.
How much time did this whole process take you before all of this? Maybe what,
Uh,
2 hours a week?
So before we had the V1 of it, which was like the web app that like had like Firebase and would like pull all the stuff, and it was like probably like 3 or 4 hours a week. And once we built that
That
automation pipeline, it was like 1 hour a week between the two of it. We would say get on a call for like half an hour and knock everything out.
yeah.
And then our process changed, and they're like the web app actually like broke down, and I was never able to run it on my machine because I never got all the right keys and stuff. It was just like
Hmm.
we stopped using that. And then rather than going back to spending 3 or 4 hours a week, we were already used to spending only 30 minutes a week. And so we just like stopped doing our homework on the show. And then we would get together like once every 4 weeks, we'd be like, holy shit, we're so behind. And we get on for like 2 hours on a Saturday and like catch up on everything.
Yeah, this process takes, once we have the title and the description, this whole process probably takes about 10 minutes total. And most of
Amazing.
that is
Oh my
hands
God, I can't
off.
wait to see it. Also, for the
Yeah.
record, for everybody watching, I have not seen this. I just know that things are
Yeah.
happening, and I'm super excited to learn like how this works end to end.
So, and we can actually create an episode here if we want to.
Well,
We
let's
don't
do
have to
it.
actually post it, but we can watch it work. So,
Amazing. That would be sick.
okay. So, yeah, so here's the first part, right? It gets all this information from the user. And any additional guests, right? Sometimes we'll have guests on, like in the email episode, we had that guest on. So anyone else that is a presenter, we want to add them to the Riverside event. So this is all it needs, right? Title, description, which number is it, the date, and the slug, and then the guests. And then the first thing it does is it creates the image. And this entire thing is just CLIs that Claude Code calls, right? The first thing that we need to do for the image is kind of the first module is it creates a subtitle. And so I think the subtitle for this one is it's like AI that makes this podcast work or something like that.
The subtitle, that's the thing that goes on the image itself.
Exactly. It goes on the image
Okay.
itself. So it creates a
Okay, sick.
subtitle, and then it asks the user if they like the subtitle, and if not, then it reruns it, and then it creates the image, right? And so the image is kind of just that Figma image that we all saw before. And we can actually do this, right? So, I mean, we can,
Yeah, what episode do you want to make?
well, next week is supposed to be another no vibes allowed. Do you want to go ahead and do that? And we can just create a test one, right? It doesn't have to actually be,
Okay.
like we don't actually have to publish it all the way through.
Yeah. Sure. Let's go. Let's go fire that off.
Okay. So let's open up Claude Code. All right. So let's do It's just episode, there it is, episode prep. And so it takes a minute to get fired up. And this is all using
as
Sonnet.
Claude is wont to do.
Yeah, yeah. This is just using Sonnet 4.5, right? I'm not even using Opus 4.5 or, the new 4.6 because I don't want to burn that many tokens. Okay, so
and it's using the Ask User Question tool. I know they've added more steering for this. It's good.
Yeah, this is new. Yeah, it's so interesting because I was doing this as a practice so many times, and I'm sure you saw a bunch of Riverside events come and go. And every time I did it,
one day last week, I have like 12 test events on my calendar.
Yeah,
I was wondering where those were coming from.
Yeah, and it's so funny because every time it does, the interface is a little different. It's so interesting. Okay, so episode title. So we can just do it however we want. I'm going to do. I found this to work really well. We'll just call it no vibes allowed February. Description. Let's see, Dex. Any thoughts here? We can just say in this episode we will do another live coding event where we
advanced context engineering principles to ship real features.
Are we doing it in yours this time or BAML?
We should figure that out.
We can just put see, it's not Co there anymore, right? It's Riptide.
Yeah.
All right, we're ship real features in Riptide, and we can, yeah.
We can come back and fix this or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Episode number. I think. See, I always forget, and this is something that I'm going to eventually.
I was going to say, can Claude figure this out?
It probably could. I just need to point it to how to do it. So that's going to be episode 46. And then the date is going to be the 24th. And then the Luma, I'm just going to call it No Vibes February. And then no additional guests. So we just do that, and then it gets cooking. So the first thing it's doing is it's making the subtitle and the image, and it's going to give us the image and ask us if we do or don't like the image. And we can, for a while, I didn't have a good feedback loop. It was just like, I don't like the image regenerated. I don't like the image regenerated.
Yep.
And I went back into it and I created another kind of feedback loop in there where it allowed me to tell me what I did or didn't like about the image, and then update the prompt and regenerate it kind of with that new feedback, which I found to be way, way, way more helpful.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you see it's
got our BAML response. Yeah, what is the do you want to pull up the code for this while it's working?
Sure.
Or at least the BAML functions?
So BAML source. So for thumbnail, so first it has a subtitle. So just generate subtitle. You're generating artifacts for podcast episode AI that works. So I'm not going to read the whole thing because this is all going to be pushed. But you can basically see it's like, given the topic, generate a rationale and a subtitle. I've found that when you have it generate the kind of the rationale that leads to what it's ultimately producing, it does it better because you give it that thinking space.
We're doing the chain of thought, but via structured output fields.
Exactly.
Cool.
And gave it a couple of examples. And then it takes the feedback, and that's...
And what's the output schema?
The output schema is just the rationale and subtitle.
Okay. And how does the thumbnail work? Because you're using like Nano Banana for this, right?
Yeah, I use Nano Banana for that. Yeah. So this is a subtitle came up with. Context engineering. Ship it. I like it.
Okay.
Dex doesn't like it.
We can iterate on that one.
Yeah, and we can tell it like so. So maybe we can do this now. So Dex, what don't you like about it?
I don't know. It's too campy. It sounds LLM generated.
Hopefully, hopefully this feedback works. Okay. So all right, let me regenerate the subtitle with your feedback. Cool. So it is working. So that's the BAML function. Unfortunately, BAML doesn't have an image generator yet. So I did have
Okay.
to just go straight to the Nano Banana API for that.
Cool. But is
But
are you generating the prompt for the image in BAML?
the I think so.
It's like
This
a
was the
thumbnail,
first thing.
right?
Yeah, so the thumbnail. This some of these might be deprecated.
Oh, I see. Yeah, generate icon prompt. There
Yeah,
you go.
there it is. Yeah, there it is. Generate icon prompt. So that's what gets fed into the Nano Banana thumbnail generator, which happens in this CLI here. There's this generate icon image. I've got a bunch of little mini modules here that this one, like, it loads the base image, which the base image is here, is this guy.
Yep.
And then Nano Banana is just putting something here, main title, subtitle, adding in this number.
Okay, so you pass this in as one of the arguments to Nano Banana, and then you tell it to
Yeah,
like fill in the text and add the image.
exactly.
Sick.
All
Okay.
right, so let's see what it came up with now. So the news is context engine. Oh, okay.
Oh, you give it away. You gave it away to chain the feedback in.
Yeah. All right, let's see what it's coming up with now. Shipping content engineering, shipping features, not hype. That's the new subtitle. But we can.
Because you told it was too hyped, and so it said, "This is not hype." Okay.
But again, we can iterate on this. I don't want to spend a bunch of time. But
let's move on to the next part.
Yeah.
This is cool that you've built in the feedback stuff, though. I like it.
But let's see what image it generates, right? So this is the image. Right? No vibes allowed February, and you see this is the subtitle. Came up with this little graphic.
Put a calendar with a heart because Valentine's Day falls in February.
I don't. I think so. Which is just kind of crazy. No vibes.
Okay. This is why we need humans in the loop for parts of this.
Exactly. So we would iterate on this a little bit more. But we'll just keep going. So I'll say, I like it.
Let's just keep rolling. It can be an inside joke. The people who see that episode are like, I know why it has a weird image.
That's right. So the next thing it's going to do is create the Riverside event. Riverside, this was a fun one. This had Riverside has an API, but it's very expensive to get to the account level where you have the API. So now you can see it is it's doing this live. It's opening a browser and it's creating the event in Riverside with kind of all the elements that we've created or told it to, and it's doing this live.
Cool.
So you see, it's gonna add. This is all the stuff that goes into it, right? It's gonna add Dex. It doesn't do great at the time, right? So it created the event.
Interesting.
But the next step is I could have it automatically post that to Vibebub's LinkedIn, but that's not a great idea because you saw it just got the time wrong. It struggles to figure out how to get the time exactly where it wants. Which is kind of a strange problem that I didn't anticipate. So there's a browser agent that I can open that part.
So the create Riverside event is done via the API, and then you tune it with the browser agent?
No, it's all done. It doesn't use the API at all. It's all done with the browser agent.
Oh, sick. Okay. So this is really fun. This is like, okay, we found a thing we wanted to automate, and so we just did it with the browser agent. So how does this work?
So what's fascinating is it uses, let's see, so this is the CL, where is it actually? So this is the test session. So let me go to CLI. That's where it kind of starts. So we go to CLI and let's see if we, so the README is probably very helpful. Yeah, I forgot I wrote a README. It's been a couple of weeks since I did this. But so what it does is it actually opens a browser, it logs in, and then it does the schedule session, which it basically just clicks through all the things that I would individually click through, right? And it's so cool because I used Dex, I used your product to build this, and what it was doing is you could see it when it didn't know how to do something. It would take a screenshot of the dashboard before the schedule, and it would figure out here what it needed to click and kind of where in the window it needed to click, and then it would code that, and then it would
So you
run
built
again.
your own browser, like this thing that like Agent Browse and Agent Browser and like all these like Playwright CLIs do under the hood as like a sub-agent loop. You've basically built this like screenshot, click, screenshot, click, screenshot, click kind of thing.
Well, that's how it was. That's how it figured out what to click and where to click, right? Now that it's rolling, it doesn't click anymore, or it doesn't take the screenshot anymore. So click.
Right.
It doesn't take the
Because
screenshot
it figured
anymore.
out what DAMA elements matter.
Exactly.
Okay, so as Claude is writing the automation script, it's using this to build the actually like mostly deterministic browser automation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, I like this. There's this big like jump towards like these sort of like I don't know how to say it. It's like the thing that the agent learns while it's working, which is like screenshot, okay, I gotta click here, and then you end up throwing all that out versus like, okay, we figured out the workflow. Now let's bake that into a deterministic code that we no longer need to use AI to learn about the page. Assuming it doesn't change that often, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
One interesting thing, though, for anyone who tries to do this on their own or do something similar, it is the best way I found to build this is to watch what it is doing, because it was clicking the wrong thing for a while. In one of these, it was supposed to click on like new. Yeah, new here. It's supposed to click here, and it was clicking on here, which is what's new. And it was getting a pop-up of like new features in Riverside, and then it was trying to figure out how to close the pop-up.
Yeah.
And so it was going down this rabbit hole that it was creating, and it couldn't figure out, and it kept closing it, then re-clicking, then closing it, and it just kept getting in this loop. And you could watch it happen, right? So when it's opening a Chrome window, you can just watch the Chrome window and make sure it's doing what it should be doing. And now what it's saying is the Riverside event has been created successfully. Next step, your action required, turn on the live streams and upload the generated thumbnail image. So if we're just clicking,
is this just stuff that like you could automate but you just haven't yet, or is this stuff that is like too hard to automate?
So the thumbnail image I could automate, and I will. The live streams, that is where it gets posted to your X account in VibeOb's LinkedIn.
I see.
So if we just open this, it goes right to the page.
Nice.
All I would do is edit session, come in here, and click these, upload the thumbnail, and press update session, and then I'm done with Riverside.
Okay.
So now I can just say done. And now it's going to create the Luma event, which Riverside is what we're all on. That's where the actual like video conference happens. Luma is where the event exists and it gets emailed out and kind of manages the guests better. Dex, am I understanding how these two pieces work together better?
That makes sense. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, we use Riverside for the hosting, but we use Luma for the actual like invites and reminders and sending blasts out to people and like, hey, this is the thing that actually puts it on your calendar and all of that. So it just did the Luma via some CLI. That's I assume using the API and not.
That uses the API, so that one's easy. Let's go back to episode prep. Let's see, event. Now it's all right. So created the Luma, which a couple of interesting things, right? That I realized when we come up with the episode title, right? No vibes allowed. We actually need to prepend the title with this AI that works tag. right? But when Dex, Vibob, and I are coming up with the title, we're not gonna put that every time. So we needed to add that to the title before the Luma event. So it does that, which that's all just the API. That's very basic, nothing crazy there. It updates the episode meta MD. So what this does is, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but if you go to boundaryml.com/podcast, this is the actual page for the podcast. And this pulls from our GitHub repo, and the meta MD file that exists in each folder helps inform what is on that website.
Yeah, you want to pull one of those up just so we can kind of like see what's in there?
I'll pull.
Basically, this is an RSS. This is an RSS feed that we host in the GitHub repo that is built off of these meta MDs, so that it can like build those little like cards in the grid.
Yeah. So it has basically the number, the title, the description, the Luma link with the slug. And one thing, I forgot to say, one thing the Luma CLI does is it checks to make sure this slug is available. And if it's not, it asks you for a new one.
Nice.
And then it has the URL to the video, the link to the GitHub repo. In this video, obviously, the episode that we're creating, the video doesn't exist yet. So what it does is it just links to the podcast page on YouTube, which is kind of a good for now.
Yep.
And yeah, so it does that. Let's go back to, I need to double click on some of these so I don't keep losing them. And it reads a couple of the past ones, and then it runs this tool, which all this does is it updates what the RSS feed reads.
Yep. Yeah, so there's another script that translates that YAML MD file into actual like RSS XML.
Mm-hmm. And you'll see it happen here, because first what it needs to do is it needs to create the directory in GitHub, and now it's creating the meta MD, which if I just click here, you'll see it's just the podcast page.
Okay.
And in the complete episode CLI, that'll get updated to the actual video.
Yep.
And so, let's do that. And then it's going to rerun the manifest, which I won't push this code because I don't want to mess up Vibob's website. But say yes. I think it's mad at some linting stuff from past episodes, but it's not a concern. And then it is, at this point, it's pretty much done. It's just double checking a couple things, and that is it. That is all it takes now to prep an episode. Once we have the title and the description, we can kind of just roll with it. Run this, and we got the thumbnail. It's created in Riverside. The Luma event is created. In the RSS feed will pick it up, and that's it. That's how an episode gets created.
This is dope. Okay, and this is only part of it, right? Because there's also what happens after we record the episode, right?
Yep, that's the next command, the complete episode.
Yep. Cool.
So this is what it does to prep an episode, create all the artifacts, and make sure everything lines up. Whereas
this is the kind of thing we used to just sit and like slog through for again like an hour every Tuesday. It was like there was a slot on my calendar. It was like, okay, we got to go get the next episode ready.
Yeah, and there's so much room for human error. Like so many times, I would forget to put the meet the speakers in the description. It's just like, damn it, like because we would go back and forth like getting the description right, and then I'd be like, all right, we got it, and then I would paste it in and post it if I was LinkedIn, and I would have forgotten to done the meet the speakers. And so now it just happens. It's so nice. Cool.
This is dope.
And so now that we've created the episode, the next part is obviously we have the episode. And then after that, so episodes happen on, today's Tuesday. It happens on Tuesday. I don't know why it took me a second to think through that. So episodes happen on Tuesday. Now what we want to do is the Riverside uploads the transcript like Tuesday afternoon sometime. And so now what we're going to do, now we start getting to the stuff that's a little less deterministic. This is where it starts to get interesting. The only parts that we've had so far that there's back and forth is in the subtitle and the image generated, which the image itself doesn't really matter too much. The subtitle is more important because the image is kind of just like a cute graphic that ends up getting overwritten. But this is where things start to get fun. So the next thing that we do is once a transcript is uploaded, we run find clips. And what this does is this suggests some clips to our video editor for shorts. And if I come in here, or let me open the find clips, so we can see what this does. So what we want to do is we want to find clips for like the episode that just ran. So like today's episode or yesterday's episode, depending on when this gets run. So it checks the current date, it gets the folder, and it makes sure that there's a transcript.txt and a metadata.md in the directory. So we have to go download the transcript from Riverside and just paste it into one of these, the proper folder. Probably is automatable, but it takes 30 seconds to do. So I just kept it as this.
Yep, that makes sense. So you could make another browser agent that goes and does that.
Right.
Yep, cool.
And then it pulls the title and the description from the episode MD, and then there's another CLI that extracts the clips. And so we can look at that quickly. We go to source, we go to clip extractor, CLI. So extract clips. So something interesting is you'll see there's one element that we have that writes the emails, and there's several steps to that. And the first step is to extract kind of the key takeaways for an email. And I thought that would be really...
At this point, the email's already been written, or are you doing
No,
this
not
before?
yet. Not yet.
Okay, good, cool.
So what I thought is that would be useful to reuse just that BAML function that extracts the key takeaways for the clips. Because you could dump the whole transcript in and say, give me high impact clips. But what I thought would be more helpful is you give it the transcript, say, give me high impact clips. Also, here are the key takeaways that I want you to kind of focus your attention on.
Yep, sick.
And so if we do find clips,
you're taking the like high level email structure and then passing it in as one thing to remember, key takeaways, episode title. Nice.
Yep. Getting CLIs for Claude Code to run, game changer, right? It makes it so easy because it can.
Well, and you mentioned you're using Sonnet for this, which I think tracks with a lot of what I've seen a lot of, and like good AI engineers I know have been talking for a while, which is like Sonnet is great at tool calling, right? It's actually almost like too good at tool calling. All it wants to do is just go do stuff all day, and it doesn't think that much. But like again, for like short little workflows like this, where you can offload all of the hard AIs. I mean, it's not really a sub agent, but it's the same model of like, hey, let's have a separate context window that goes and does the thing, and your top level model is just orchestrating all of these tools that under the hood are doing their own AI stuff.
Right. So let's say we're creating clips for
which episode,
Right. So let's just say we're just doing it for this one because we don't have the transcript for today's episode. So it's going to make sure there's a transcript, and then it's going to run the two BAML functions, which we'll see kind of pop out in the terminal. And it's going to give us some clips.
Maybe it'll come up with the same one. I mean, the one that we got for this episode, one of them was really good. I ended up like posting it on Twitter, and you could go find it if you want. But it's like the best engineers are using back pressure to figure out to be able to run their agents kind of autonomously for days because the agent's able to check its own work, right?
Mm-hmm. And this is another point where we use a human in the loop. Right, our video editor, Mario, all I do is I send him the output of this, which I'll show you what it looks like in a second. I send it to him in Slack, and I say, hey, Mario, here's some suggested clips. I don't really know Mario's background, but he seems to be really good at this kind of thing. And so I think it's like, hey, use your discretion, right? Do these clips look good? Are there other clips that you think would be better? This is, I think, kind of just more of a suggestion for what clips we're going to post.
Right. Mario's a good editor and a good content person. He's not a AI engineer, so this guidance helps him kind of pick out which parts of this are really meaningful to our audience.
Mm-hmm. And again, it probably, I imagine, saves him quite a bit of time because he doesn't have to think through, all right, 3 separate clips. It kind of it almost like primes it a little bit and says, here are kind of the 3 clips that we think would be useful. This is kind of, you can either use them or it can, act as a warm up and kind of get you started, or you can just not like them at all. Like, it just depends. So let's see. So if we can, it prints this out.
But it makes a JSON file somewhere.
It makes
right?
a JSON file. Yeah, it does. Which this is the first time I've ever seen this get printed out. It's so interesting. Every time I run it, the output is a little different. So it makes a JSON file where it has the rationale, the transcript, start and end, the speaker, and the actual transcript, and then the hook, right? And this is, I do this a lot where I structure the thinking, right? Like give me the rationale before you actually give me the output.
Yep.
So let's see. Are there any good?
I mean, this makes sense. I get this.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so this is how you make the clips using the transcript.
Right.
What else is worth digging into here? I know we're at 8:50, so
the email.
Oh yeah, building the email. This was the one where it was like, it's very easy for. I mean, I'm sure everybody here is bombarded with AI slop emails. We work really hard and we end up doing a lot of like hand editing of the email. This has been true about this show for a very long time. Vibov has eventually claims to have figured out that, and it sounds like you guys work together to get the right prompt to make it not feel AI generated. And of course, we still review that before that goes out.
Yeah. And Vibov is a master at figuring out something that's AI generated, right? I would have an email that I thought looked good, and Vibov would say, no, this sounds like AI slop. So many times.
He reads a lot of AI. The man reads a lot of AI outputs.
Yeah. It's uncanny. So the complete episode CLI Claude command is the last one. The first thing it's doing is it goes to YouTube, looks for AI that works, finds a YouTube link for the most recent AI that works, and updates the URL in the meta.md file. So we'll just say yes, so we can get to the email portion. But I can just go ahead and show you what the email portion looks like. And this is the, once we did it this way, we ended up getting much better results. Like Dex said, we still review it, and typically we have 1 to 2 updates. Typically it's just 1, but I mean, it's way better than the 4, 5, or 6 updates that we were doing. So the first thing that we do is we extract the email structure, right? Because the most naive way to do it is to say, here's the transcript, write an email, have 3 takeaways, and have this sign off. Okay. That didn't work. That just didn't work. So the first thing is this email structure, right? So the output, so let's see, where is it? So extract email structure, where we give it the transcript, the title, and the description. And we say extracting key information. We want compelling subject line, what the session covered, 2 to 3 bullet points with the main insights and the single most important takeaway, and then any mention of an upcoming session.
Yep.
And then we have an example email that we feed it.
And this is just coming off the transcript and then the example email. And the example email is just a past one that we, as humans built one that we were happy with, right?
Right. And then the title and description. So this is just the structure, right? This is not writing the email.
So what is this? Okay, so the structure is just, and then what, do we push that into a template, or do we give it the structure and have it? Okay, compose is also an element. Cool.
Yeah, so compose is the next one. So compose email is we transform the structured email into a polished email newsletter. Here's the subject. We cover a lot on...
This doesn't see the transcript at all. It just sees doing like a 2-pass generation where we kind of, it's almost like I mean, it's a dumb analogy, but almost like a Laura or something. Where like, okay, let's make it smaller and more specific, and then we're gonna expand it back out.
Right. Right. Because the transcripts are typically really long. And I don't know, the context might very well degrade with that really long transcript.
Yep.
And if I think the idea is like, if this first function works really well, then the
Yeah.
compose email will work. Right.
Yeah.
And so this first function is really the key one to focus on. So you kind of have to trust that your helper functions work, sort of.
Yeah, no, this makes sense. Okay, cool. And then we compose it, and then what is like? I'm really curious the guidance you're giving it on like how to make the tone really good.
Yeah. So it's so funny, right? We
Oh,
have it
nice.
identify AI patterns. Right, which basically all that is hey, this looks like the following email
You just
sounds like
always
AI
tell it
slop.
it sounds like
You
slop.
always tell it because
Okay.
it always does. It always does. It always has repeated sentence patterns every time.
Yep.
So you just tell it, it sounds like AI slop. Tell me why it sounds like AI slop, right? So there's a
Oh,
subject, the body, and the call to action. And then we say, analyze the email, identify specific patterns that make it sound AI generated. So name the pattern, give me an example, and explain why this sounds artificial.
cool.
And so
This is the LLMS judge. Like, just throw more tokens at the problem and make it think more, and then you just like keep turning the crank, basically.
yeah. But all
Okay.
this is doing is this isn't rewriting the email. This is just saying what the AI patterns are. This is just,
Yep.
hey, here's an email. Why does this sound like AI?
Yep.
And then the final part fixes that. It says the following email, it was written by AI. It sounds like AI slop. Fix these patterns to make it not sound like AI slop.
Incredible.
And
Are you at any point like logging out the intermediate like objects? Like I think it would be fascinating to like
it
have
would
it
be
just like
fascinating.
print out basically like here's the original email, here's the patterns we found, here's the fixed version.
I'm not, but that would be very cool.
That'd be a cool
That
demo.
would be cool.
Okay. Maybe we'll post those like three versions as part of the episode. I don't want to
We
make you
can,
go live code a bunch of print statements, but I mean if you want to, we could try that. That would be
yeah, we can try
that would make
that.
a really cool demo. Okay.
Yeah, let's do it. So let me just cancel this run because
Yep.
I forget. Well, shoot. I forget when the lock goes into place with Claude Code. So let me go here, and we can just put breakpoints.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So let's do that here, 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 and yeah, sure, why not?
Cool.
And so now let's just rerun. It's going to take a minute to get there, but that's okay. We'll just kind of auto accept everything on the way. And then there's also one other thing is even after this, I have Claude do one final pass.
Okay, so once it gets it out from the script, you're like, go make this even less sloppy.
Yeah, exactly. But it's pretty specific on what it's looking for, right? So let's see. So really it's just making sure that that it still follows the structure that we want. Because it could be very easy when it's fixing the patterns for it to kind of lose that initial instruction of, hey, we want the greeting, the opening, we want the sign off by vibe off index, right? It'd be easy for it to lose that. So we do one final pass to make sure it still has the structure that we want.
Okay.
And I could have another BAML function that does this, but
Right.
I don't.
It's interesting when you mix in different system prompts and different models and different harnesses of the like, hey, straight inference, just an API call versus like, hey, this thing is running with like, you don't know all of the random context it might have picked up while running the slash command that might be randomly helpful to make it slightly better.
Right. Exactly. And I mean, getting this email tone right took so long that I'm really hesitant to make any changes to it. So we'll do agentic back pressure deep dive episode we just did. So it's going to do the folder, update all the stuff, regenerate the JSON manifest, so it would update the RSS feed to be pointing to the correct YouTube video. But again, I'm not going to actually push this code because we already have that.
Yep.
But let's just get to I should have just commented everything else out now that I'm doing this live, but whoops. That's what happens when you do stuff live, right?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, so yeah, we'll just do that. It's fine. It's fast.
And we'll do this, and then we'll get to wrapping up, and we'll make sure we include our key takeaways and one thing to remember, so they land in the transcript.
There you go.
If anyone has questions in the chat, by the way, feel free to let them rip.
All right, we're getting closer and closer to the generate email. So I at some point I do save out the email JSON.
Yep.
So it has a subject, body, and call to action, because that just makes it easier to structure.
Yep.
But yeah, let's see. What happens?
And are those
Dex,
go ahead.
What happens with breakpoints in Claude
I was
code?
literally about to ask you the same question. I was like, have you used the breakpoint thing in Claude Code? I thought was going to be you were going to like grab the CLI invocation and then run it yourself, so you get the because like Claude doesn't have a PTY, so you can't actually go back and forth with it.
Yeah, I'm just realizing this now. Yeah, it's going to get mad.
Okay, so what script did it run?
It ran just to generate email CLI. So
can you just grab that CLI so you can run it? Yeah.
So complete episode. Let's go to
my favorite part of the show. Is like, hey, what if XYZ?
So let's see. Agentic back pressure. Let me just come in and grab the description from the meta MD. And what else do we need? We also need transcript. So just the path to the screen transcript and the path to output. So the path to the transcript is just this, copy path. And then the output, we'll just do the same, except just call it email.md.
Cool.
No such file directory. Don't like that. Oh, I gotta give it the full path.
The folder path.
Yeah. Let's just go ahead and source. Where are you? Email generator. Source email generator.
I think you just need the folder path. Like you just need to add the episode date to the front there. Yeah.
Oh my god. I think what if we just do email, I think here, it's not in the init. Source email generator. Well, this is kind of stuff that Claude Code typically cleans up for us. Yeah, it just figures it out. So, but I will.
If you CD into there, I bet it will work because you just you need your UV and you need your UVVN at the root probably. Try this one.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
There we go. Oh no, I forgot oh no. I got the path to the transcript. Okay, so let's see what the structure looks like. So subject, learning tests and proof-driven dev for black boxes, what we covered. And then let's just do a continue. And so the next thing that it's doing is it's composing the email, and this is almost certainly going to sound like AI slop. Okay. Actually, let me just do this.
A draft out body.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
All right, Dex. Why does this sound like AI
You got
slop?
an M dash in there.
Oh
You
yeah.
got AI powered assumption vetting. Sounds super hypey.
The problem with assumptions, AI powered assumption vetting. Let's see. Another dash for fuzzy external contracts. I mean, if Vibe over here, he would like nail why this sounds like AI slop. The guy's phenomenal at that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so if we do another continue, we get the AI
let's
slop
see.
patterns.
Yeah, let's see what AI thinks the slop patterns are.
This will be fun.
This is fun because we also talked about doing an episode on like how do you make the content sound authentic. So you're getting that as well here. Yes, verbose listing enumeration within sequences.
All right, so meta commentary. So humans do not exclude explicit structural labels like call to action. That's actually true. No one actually puts call to action in an email.
In an email,
right?
Yep.
You have one, but you don't actually say, this is the call to action. That's very silly. Inconsistent tone and register. Let's see. Juxtaposed with highly technical terms like deterministic feedback loops and proof-driven dev. I don't know if I totally agree with this one because we do like the unicorn emoji. But that's okay. That's why we have the Claude code that comes there at the end and does the final cleanup.
Yep. Okay. Cool.
And then overuse and density of jargon and buzzwords. Yep.
I kind of like the jargon and buzzwords in this one particularly. But anyways, yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's. Okay. So let's see what it cleans it up to. Here's a quick recap instead of super quick recap. I like that. What we call back pressure. I like this. Yeah. This is less like it actually explains the terms instead of just like using them.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah, and then the command would do, or the Claude code again would do one more cleanup to make sure it has the structure that we want. And then that email would get generated and then that would get sent out. Well, it'd get reviewed by you in Vibe and then it would get sent out. Amazing.
Yeah. Okay, this is dope. This is super interesting. I know you guys riffed on this, like how to make the email less sloppy, but I hadn't actually seen it. And I love, this is like a classic vibe of like, okay, take the output and then do a different structure generation on it to find all the things that are wrong, and then bring the input and the what we found wrong and pull those together, and then and then actually generate the new thing.
So what would we say our key takeaway here is, Dex? For me, I mean, there are a couple. It is hard to get AI not to sound like AI slop. Even after all this and multiple AI reviews, we still need humans in the loop to clean it up, and we still typically do 1 or 2 rounds of edits on it. So it's hard. It's hard to do that. And then I'd say the other main thing that I learned is figure out, like we said earlier, figure out where it's okay to automate and where it's not okay to automate, right? If you're going to send out an email to 2,000 people, make sure that you don't have an AI doing that, because if it messes something up, then that's a really embarrassing mistake.
Yep. And I think another thing here that is almost like starting to become taken for granted, but back over the summer, it was a whole episode topic, which was like using Claude Code for less technical tasks, or using Claude Code as kind of your top level orchestrator for a process where you can actually, the agent gives you a little bit of robustness and flexibility and almost like squishiness over a set of deterministic tools. And kind of using just like a dumb tool calling model with to like go execute a process. And like I think skills are kind of in this direction, but yeah, this idea of like make a prompt that is everything you have to do. You can always leave in like stop and get the human to do this part, and then you can slowly fill it out with more and more automations as you go.
Yeah, and something that we saw was the actual instructions in the Claude Code command were wrong. I moved a function add the init and into it, I renamed it. And the instructions were wrong in the Claude Code instructions, but Claude Code was able to figure it out. So it's almost like a front end for CLIs in some way, where you don't have to be super specific. You don't have to be exact in what everything is supposed to do and how it's supposed to look. And it's smart enough that it can kind of fill in the gaps and sand out all of those burrows for you.